I've always said that the best leader in the world is always replacing himself or herself. And that, I mean, as I studied ministry early on in my life, I would see so many communities that had, one leader, one system, that only that person could do anything and everybody else was just followers and wannabes. And that's not a sustainable system. You ought to be able to walk away from anything that you've created, whether it's a family system, a spiritual community system, a legacy system, and be able to walk away from it and know that it will be forever lasting. Not that, oh, it can't make it, without you. That comes from a level of insecurity, of not really integrating what is possible. So when I think about the idea in the 80s, yes, I go back that far and then some. If you don't remember what the 80s were like, we actually had cassette tapes back then. If you don't know what that's like, well, I don't even know what to tell you. But the point is, in the 80s, there was the statement that when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I love that statement. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When something is pulling me towards something greater within myself, there will be a teaching such as ILLI that will offer me the opportunity to grow out of what I already understand, because what we already understand continues to create what we already have. And so in order to emerge and evolve into more, then we have aha moments. We hear different instruction. We learn from different ways. I mean, you may have heard about prayer all your life, but put yourself as a student waiting for the teacher to appear in front of a class, hearing somebody else talk about their experience of prayer. Ah, you've given me a new insight. Wow. Oh, I am learning. The other part of that, though, that I'd like you to visit within your heart, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, means the teacher within you. And so it's likened to what Dr. Aileen said. It's likened to what Ryan was saying. It's likened to what Reverend Christie is saying, is that, and Amy, is that there comes a time that you are called to teach, even sometimes what you're learning at the same time, because it's one thing to absorb, it's another thing to share, it's another thing to engage through knowledge. Because when, sometimes people will go at a workshop or a program or a retreat that I'm giving, oh, I'm so looking forward to what you have to say. And I go, well, so am I. So am I, because there's going to be some kind of inner growing going on, that the teacher and the student are having this relationship within me. And I love to sit with and reflect and chew upon that which I've spoken about, or that which I've allowed to flow through me. My part of my story, in addition to all the other stories that you would hear about me, is that I think that the most important thing to me is likened to what Amy said. I am a permanent lifelong learner. And I'm very clear that when I am no longer interested in learning, I don't want to claim any kind of role of being a leader. Um, that being said, I was a minister having a calling at 5 years old. And and people would say, well, you're so lucky that you had that. And what I would say is, well, had my parents, put me in a mystery school, maybe. But being a Southern Baptist raised community, very small town, having a calling to be a spiritual leader was not something that people really identified with. And so it was that search, it was that student looking for that teacher on that, constant journey. But even in studying ministry, just so you know, I was terrified to speak and talk. The first year of ministry, I was so terrified to speak and talk. I spent 5 years in training and reading lots of books, very impressive, reading about different powers, reading about, founders of great movements. And like I said, I went to anything, signed up for any class I could. And yet the development of the skills that I needed, I didn't have. So I was terrified to be a speaker. I was so nervous that I would, misstate things. I would get so preoccupied with what I was saying. And I would teach classes and pray that no one would show up. Well, that's a little messed up, but I go, wow, I'm so glad nobody showed up. I mean, that's not exactly what it's supposed to be. But I came to understand that there's a big difference between being certified and being dignified. And the reason that ministry, even though I had all these years of training, even though I had waited since I was 5 years old to hear someone say at 33, you now have this glorified permission. We now authorize you to go out and do this. I realized that I was certified, but certified means that you do it the way you were taught. Certified means that you copy the people that taught you. You do it their way. Dignified is the place that you want to be able to live from. And that is my deepest passion and my deepest joy about what ILLI offers is from the first moment you make that call, pick up the phone and call today, from the first moment that you apply, from the first moment you send in your application, you are greeted as an immense person that deserves to be recognized and is treated in the most dignified way. Because when you step into spirituality as a dignified individual, now you're talking. Now you're talking because you are leading according to your own understanding of what you're needing to lead. And you are resonating in this divine listening of what it is that people want, whether you are the president of a chamber or you are the administrator of a healthcare facility. Again, spiritual leadership, the world is longing for it deeply in all walks of life and in all avenues and all places. And one of the reasons that early on, Dr. Aileen and I started meeting and talking is that people started coming to me and saying, how do you do it? How do you, write for magazines, write a book, blog, do posters, run an organization or stay present at one and teach and do that and that, and you seem to manage it all. And to me, it was like I went, I don't think I'm doing anything any different than anybody else. I'm just showing up and being grounded in that energy field. But then I realized that the distinction between ministerial or spiritual leadership training that's out there in the world is just giving that certification and is not really deepening the training of that inner life and that core value of being grounded, that you are a difference maker and you are a messenger of what you're claiming to be teaching. And that's a strong, strong, strong distinction that anything can be happening at any given time and you can remain grounded and steadfast. And when I look at the systems that we have out there in discernment, we are just cookie cutter training people. And therefore, we're getting the same kind of cookie cutter experiences as what leaders look like, instead of people that are breaking through the glass ceiling. And so, in that reality, we teach you how to realize that anytime you think you're the only one doing it, you're already off the mark. You have something so great that is within you that's wanting to be realized, your excellence and your genius. And we teach you how to move away from shadow reality of self-righteousness, of martyrdom, of, tired, of busy making, and all those things, so that you can really lead your life and lead other people around you by modeling. And people today, they're more interested in what you're walking versus what you're talking. And if those are going in some kind of solid, insightful way. And so part of our course is to teach you when you are into your healthy well-being of a teacher, of a healer, of a visionary, of a warrior, and when you're in your shadow. And when you're in that space, you're this attraction magnet to what you have to say, to what you have to share. And it's not about being full of yourself. Everyone needs some level of ego, but we need that self-esteem, we need that self-assertiveness. But again, it's not power over someone else. It's about being a channel. It's about, rather than being full of yourself, you are full of spirit, and the willingness to surround yourself with people that are so dynamic and so phenomenal that you can allow the space of the teacher and student to be balanced within your own heart. So that's what it's all about. And I feel blessed. I feel grateful to be in the presence of all of you.